seldom that mere ordinary people, like John and myself, secure ancestral halls for the summer. John is a physician, and perhaps that is one reason I do not get well faster. You see, he does not believe I am sick. My brother is also a physician and also of high standing, and he says the same thing. Here comes John. I must put this away. He hates to have me write work.
My dear, I came home to give you your medication.
John, dear, this pen and paper look as if a boys' school had used it.
Now, we came here so you could get perfect rest, not so you could get worked up about silly things. You don't want to spend too much time in this room anyway. I mean, you need your fresh air.
But it's stripped off, this paper, in great patches all around the head of the bed. And down there on the other side of the wall, you see. I've never seen such horrid paper in all my life.
You're letting this get the best of you. There's nothing worse for a nervous patient than to give in to such fancies.
These nervous troubles are dreadfully depressing. You don't know how much I really suffer. Do let us go downstairs. The rooms are so much prettier down there.
Why, we could go down to the cellar anytime. In fact, I'll have it whitewashed in the bargain.
This paper looks to me as if it knew what a vicious influence it had. There's a recurrent spot where the pattern lolls like a broken neck, and two bulbous eyes stare at me upside down. I get positively angry with the impertinence of it and the everlastingness. Up and down and sideways they crawl, and those absurd, unblinking eyes are everywhere. Then the floor is scratched and gouged and splintered. The plaster itself is dug out here and there, and this great, heavy bed, which is all we found in the room, looks as if it had been through the wars. But I really don't mind a bit, only the paper. The wallpaper has a kind of sub-pattern in a different shade, and a particularly irritating one. You can only see it in certain lights, and not clearly then. But in the places where it isn't faded, where the sun is just set, I can see a strange, provoking, formless sort of figure that seems to skulk about behind that silly, conspicuous front design.
My dear, Sister says that you're still not eating. Don't worry though. If you don't pick up soon, I shall send you to Weir Mitchell in the fall.
But I don't want to go there at all. I had a friend who was in his care once. Can you just send me to stay with Cousin Henry and Julia instead?
The distance is just too great for you right now. Plus, once you got there, you wouldn't even be able to stand it.
I suppose you're right. It's such an effort for me to try to think straight. This nervous sickness and
I cry at nothing, and cry most of the time now. Of course, I don't when John is here, or anyone else, but only when I'm alone. And I'm alone a good deal just now. John is kept in town very often by serious cases. I'm getting really fond of the room in spite of the wallpaper. Or perhaps because of the wallpaper. I lie here on this great immovable bed. It's nailed down, I believe. And I follow the pattern by the hour. It is as good as gymnastics, I assure you. I know a little of the principle of design, and I know this is not arranged on any laws of radiation or alternation or repetition or symmetry or anything else that I've ever heard of. There are things in the wallpaper that nobody knows but me, or ever will. Behind that outside pattern, the dim shapes get clearer every day. It is always the same shape, only very numerous. And it is like a woman stooping down and creeping about behind that pattern. I don't like it a bit. I wonder. I begin to think. I wish John would take me away from here. The other night, when he was asleep, I watched the moonlight on that undulating wallpaper till I felt creepy. The faint figure behind seemed to shake the pattern just as if she wanted to get out.
John, I'm really not gaining here. I wish you would just take me somewhere.
Why, darling, our lease will be up in 3 weeks. I can't see how to leave before then. The repairs are not done at home, and I can't possibly leave town just now. Of course, if you were in danger, I could and would. But really, you are better now. Whether you can see it or not, I am a doctor, dear, and I know. You are gaining flesh and color. Your appetite is better. I feel really much easier about you.
I don't weigh a bit more, nor as much. And my appetite may be better in the evening when you're here, but it's worse in the morning when you're away.
Bless her little heart, she'll be just as sick as she wants to be. Now let's improve this shining hour by going to bed, and we'll talk about this in the morning.
So you won't take me anywhere?
Why, dear, I don't see how I can. Just 3 more weeks, and I promise we will take a trip of a few days or so. You really are getting better.
Better in body, perhaps.
Now, don't you dare say a thing like that. Never for one instant let that idea enter your head. There is nothing so dangerous, so fascinating to a temperament like yours. It is a false and foolish fancy. Can you trust me when I say so?
I'm feeling ever so much better. I don't sleep much at night, for it is so interesting to watch developments. But I sleep a good deal in the daytime. John is pleased to see me improve. He laughed a little the other day and said I seemed to be flourishing in spite of my wallpaper. I said nothing. I had no intention of telling him it was because of the wallpaper. He would make fun of me. He might even want to take me away. I don't want to leave now. No, I've really discovered something at last, and I must stay. Through watching so much at night, when it changes so, I finally found out. The front pattern does move, and no wonder. The woman behind shakes it. Sometimes I think there are a great many women behind, and sometimes only one, and she crawls around fast, and her crawling shakes it all over. Then, in the very bright spots, she keeps still. And in the very shady spots, she just takes hold of the bars and shakes them hard. She is all the time trying to climb through. But nobody could climb through that pattern. It strangles so. I think that is why it has so many heads. They get through, and then the pattern strangles them off and turns them upside down and makes their eyes white. I think the woman gets out in the daytime, and I'll tell you why. I've seen her. I can see her out of every one of my windows. It is the same woman I know, for she is always creeping. And most women don't creep in daylight. It is the last day, but it is enough though. John left last evening and stayed in town all night. I wasn't alone a bit though. As soon as it was moonlight and that poor thing began to crawl and shake the pattern, I got up and ran to help her. I pulled and she shook, and I shook and she pulled. And before morning, we had pulled out yards of that wallpaper. I had locked the door and thrown the key down into the front path. I don't want to go out, and I don't want to have anyone come in till John comes. I want to astonish him. I've got a rope up here. If that woman does get out and try to get away, I can tie her. I'm getting angry enough to do something desperate. To jump out the window would be admirable exercise, but the bars are too strong for me to try. Besides, I won't do it. Of course not. I don't even like to look out of the windows. There's so many of those creeping women. They creep so fast. I wonder if they all come out of that wallpaper, as I did. But I am securely fastened now by my well-hidden rope. You won't get me out in the road there. I suppose I shall have to get off behind the pattern when it comes night. And that is hard. It is so pleasant to be out in this great room and creep around as I please. I don't want to go outside. I won't. For outside you have to creep on the ground, and everything is green instead of yellow. But here I can creep smoothly on the floor, and my shoulder just fits into that long smooch around the wall, so I cannot lose my way.
It's no use. You can't get
for, my darling?
I can't. It's downstairs under a plantain leaf. Under a plantain leaf. It's under the plantain leaf, John.
What's the matter? What, for God's sake, what are you doing?
I've gotten out in spite of you, and I've torn off the wallpaper so you can't put me back in.